Welcome to the Cannabis Equipment News Podcast.
Hi, I'm David Manti, and welcome to a new episode of the Cannabis Equipment News Podcast. With me today in the studio is Wade Woods, founder and owner of Honeybee Cannabis Company. Thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
In the studio. It's it's just special today.
First in studio one.
I like it. Before we get started, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. You can also help us out a lot by leaving the podcast a positive review on whatever platform you use. If you want to email the podcast, you can reach me at david@cannabisequipmentnews.com. Also, subscribe to our daily newsletter. Make sure you get the podcast delivered to your inbox first. Wait, I always like to start by getting to know a little bit about the person and their journey to cannabis. What was it that brought you into the industry?
Yeah, kind of an unexpected journey. We'll say that. I spent 18 years with, a large beer distributor. So that's kind of what I knew and stuff. And we'll just say like the corporate world kind of got, not something I was liking anymore. So some things went down and, I was kind of not knowing what I was going to do with anything next. And have some family down in like the La Crosse area. We had a family apple orchard growing up, and grandfather passed in 94, and my uncle and aunt lived on the property. So took my daughter up there to, see the apple orchard, because the Amish kind of helped get that going again. And as we're walking out, my uncle's like, "Hey, your cousin's growing hemp." So it was right around harvest season in 2019. And so on the way out of town, me and my daughter stopped there. And second I kind of stepped on the field, I was just like, obviously, was a cannabis user young, but had a profession where I couldn't use it. So, and that's kind of where the journey started. And here we are today.
Was it the bureaucratic red tape, or what was it about corporate America that kind of steered you the other way?
Well, I think, just obviously in sales, it's relationship based, and I will just say like corporately, we were kind of being asked to do some things that I knew wasn't right for customers. And, it's a check the box type of thing. And, it just started to kind of really rub on me. It was like, that's how you build relationships. That's how you positive relationships, is like taking care of each other, so like some of that was just kind of, I think it was my time to go,
No, I've never been great at corporate America ever. And I think it's because a lot of times in those situations, especially depending on the company, it's almost like a parasitic relationship that they want you to have with your client base. Whereas when you're in a startup, when you're doing your own thing, it's, symbiotic. It's a relationship business. Yes. And that's how you grow.
Yep, exactly. And that, of my 18 years, I would say, sales was 15 of it. So again, that's what I learned right off the bat. It's like, if you take care of your customer, you can sell them whatever you want because they know you're taking care of them.
Yeah, they trust you.
You're gonna bring them something that's gonna bring value to them, not just, hey, I want to sell you my product and hope it sells. It's, hey, let's work together. How do we do this? And again, just kind of being pushed to do some of the stuff that wasn't that way. Just that was kind of where I think I was ready to move on.
Okay. So it was your cousin growing hemp in La Crosse?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. That's a beautiful area. I went to school up there.
It is. Yeah. I was born in La Crosse. Grew up in Holman.
Okay.
Obviously moved here kindergarten through I was in Sun Prairie or whatever. So, but yeah, I love that area of Wisconsin and try to get back there as much as I can.
Yeah, no, it's it always takes me back to that when I was in college. It's like I immediately go back into that mode. It's like, let's go to 3rd Street and make some bad decisions.
Yeah.
So did you decide, after you saw your cousins grow, did you decide to start your own grow, or did you want to start a company processing your cousin's crop?
Yeah. Obviously I helped them harvest that whole year. And then the following year worked with a couple other farmers. I wasn't growing per se, but just worked with some farmers from seed and did all that. And again, it's been a crazy journey, and as I learned, so, still touch base with some of those farmers, but, also have some really great co-packers here in the state that, it's Wisconsin grown, all that. And it kind of more took on a brand, I would say, obviously trying to make it all Wisconsin. So obviously knowing I'm helping other farmers out too, and stuff like that, that's a good feeling as well.
Okay. So do you grow at all, or?
I do not
Okay.
grow at the moment. Hoping within the next year or so. I've got a good friend that just finished up a greenhouse and that. So we're looking to do something small based, something like that. Maybe more on the educational side, but it's definitely something that's, in the future plans for sure.
Okay. So tell me about the Honeybee Cannabis Company line. What is it that you offer?
So obviously we have, we do honey as well.
Mhm.
So, just regular raw honey. And then also we do have a CBD line of honey as well. From the regular honey sales, portions of those proceeds go back to the Henry Vilas Zoo here in Madison. So,
Oh, thank you, man. I'm there every week.
yeah, they're just, we're very lucky to have a free zoo,
Mhm.
and they do a lot, just for animal conservation stuff. So yeah, I think it's, as I'm building this brand out, it's like, I definitely want to have a giving contribution to the brand, cause
Yeah.
that's just who I am. And growing up in Madison my whole life, it's like, yeah, there's the zoo, got a lot of memories of that as a kid. And then Clean Lakes Alliance is another nonprofit here in Madison that I do a lot of giving. Just launched a new CBD sparkling water line, which,
Yeah. Is that the sample?
yep, those are the samples
Yeah.
right there. So
All right.
started out with a ginger, a lemon, and a lime.
Okay.
Organic juices, not from concentrate, go into these. So yeah, just trying to keep it as natural as possible, as clean of a product as possible. And then same thing with this. Proceeds go to Clean Lakes Alliance as well. So,
Okay. Do you keep any for yourself?
I do, I've had some people say that, maybe I give too much. And, as a small business owner, like some of these people are more successful than I am. So it's like, maybe they're right. But you know what, if I don't make it cause I'm given,
Yeah.
I'll be okay with that, but I do think the tie to the community also helps with brand awareness.
Mhm.
It's trying to build a natural Wisconsin brand that people can trust, but
Yeah.
also knowing that, hey, when I purchase this product, I'm also helping the community out too in different ways as well.
That is one of the things I've noticed about the cannabis industry in general. It is one of the most generous and collaborative industries that I've seen versus any other that I've worked in. Would you agree?
Yes, I would totally agree. I think early on in the craft beer world, just spending a lot of time there, that I saw a lot of that in the beginning. It was,
Mhm.
hey man, like let's all make it work.
Yeah.
We want to see you succeed, just like we hope you want to see us succeed. And I think some of that changed down the road, with the craft world here in Madison. It's pretty awesome. I do work with some breweries here in Madison, and they all, work together. Behind the scenes, a lot of people don't know. Carbon 4 is helping out Delta Beer Lab, and Delta Beer Lab's helping out Work and Draft, and just so on. And I feel in the Madison community that it's still there. With
Okay.
that. But yeah, I agree with you. It's pretty cool to see other cannabis companies, throughout my feed, on social too. And yeah, it seems like there's a lot of giving back to whatever the cause is, which is cool.
When you're looking at partnerships with farmers, what are you looking for specifically when it comes to product quality, and what you're looking for in terms of the product you're going to bring in-house to process?
Yeah, I think, obviously relationship, like we talked, is huge, so
Yeah.
it's definitely getting to know the farmers, what they're about.
Mhm.
Cause again, everyone's got their different take on what way they want to go. And obviously I see my brand as, medicinal,
Mhm.
on the honey side too, raw honey is very beneficial to us. And, it's building a brand. Education is very big in the cannabis world, especially here in Wisconsin, where
Mhm.
we're still trying to get our feet going, and
Yeah, no, we'll get into that.
yeah. So I think, quality is a big thing, pretty much the farmers we're working with are, organic or certified. They're at least growing that way. So, just making sure, yeah, it's a high quality product. And then I've been really trying to make it affordable too.
Yeah.
I think we've seen a lot of that out there too. And, I still go into some places where you're seeing CBD oils that are just in my opinion, a little out there for the consumer, it's, so again, trying to bring a quality product to the table, but is also affordable to the consumer,
Yeah.
because I think we had a lot of that in the very early beginnings where some brands came in super, super pricey, maybe not the highest quality. And then, you get somebody, yourself, you take something, you spend good money for it.
Yeah.
And you don't see any relief. You're a walking billboard for CBD and all that too. So
Yeah.
it's like you're telling your friends, oh, this doesn't work. So I think,
Yeah.
again, education and quality products, then hopefully that trend can go the other way. You get some people that are believing in your product. It's helping them.
Mhm.
Now they're telling their friends, and word of mouth to me is a huge thing these days still.
I think everyone remembers, or at least a lot of people I know, the first time they had that like CBD sticker shock where, I was just at a trade show checking out some new products, went to buy a tincture, and then went to grab the cash, and they're like, no, it was $80. I'm like, oh, it's a card then. It was, which is fine. It's a new market. And with any new market, it takes a lot of education in terms of what value you're getting, even though it's a small tincture, how much is actually in there.
Yep.
And it's like this whole education process that is difficult for some companies to overcome.
Yeah. And I've been pretty lucky to be at a lot of outdoor events during the summers.
Mm-hmm.
I do some work with Carbon 4 Brewing, so I'm lucky to be able to tag along with them to a lot of like beer festivals and stuff. And beer festivals have been so much fun. It's really cool to see how the craft beer drinker, they're all about legalization.
Oh,
and
80% of Wisconsin.
But you're right. I mean, that face-to-face conversation with a customer and being able to talk them through it, something you can't do when your product's on the shelf at a store.
Yeah.
But for me, I've got quite a few repeat buyers from, trade shows and stuff like that where, whatever, they're able to meet me and, it's just kind of that, again, a little bit of a relationship you build in maybe a 10-minute conversation with somebody. And, you'll never hear me say I have the best products out there. There's a lot of quality products out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm in the same range as them, and again, I don't feel I have a competitor.
Yeah.
If you're doing it the right way, I want you to succeed, and hopefully people feel the same with me,
Do you have a storefront? And if not, what a percentage of your sales are in the store versus e-commerce?
So e-commerce wise, I have 0, which is crazy.
Okay.
So again, never thought I'd be in this position in my life, owning a company and all that. So I'm doing things backwards. I get it. The website probably should have been day one. It's almost there. I've been saying that for months. My buddy Luke has built a great website. It's on me now, just finishing up some product descriptions about us. So it's on me. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how that, I think most companies launch that first. So I'm just kind of anxious to see what happens, when I finally do get it launched. Don't have a huge following, but I think over the last 3 years, there's in the Madison area, especially, like the brand's somewhat known. So it'll be interesting to see when the website does launch. Does it take off a little quicker than normal, or or is it, do I look at it and go, wow, I just wasted 3 years of, this?
No, it's a slow build. It'll be a slow build.
Yeah.
You said you have honey, the sparkling water. When do you go to specific farmers for specific product lines, or is it kind of everything comes in house into the same hopper?
Yeah, I would say it kind of comes in.
Okay.
So got some great partners down in Waukesha that do the gummies and all that stuff for me and stuff like that. So, I would say it's kind of more like that. On the honeybee side, last year I just myself only did one hive because, I got busy.
Yeah.
Don't have any employees. So right now it's just me kind of doing everything, but then work with some hyper local beekeepers out of like Verona. So all the honey's pretty much coming right out of that area and stuff like that. So gearing up for this will be the 3rd annual Earth Day beer that I do with Hop House. So it's a honey blonde ale, proceeds again to Clean Lakes, but got some really cool events lined up. Earth Day at the Boneyard, we'll have Natty Nation doing a double show, featuring Be Better Have My Honey that day. And then the following week, Olbrich Beer Garden's doing a big event for it. So it's a fun time of year, it's a way to get my brand's name out there. Usually we get some pretty good local press behind it and stuff like that. So,
well, and it seems like you like being out in the community.
I love being out in the community. Being behind a camera and stuff, some of that, maybe, maybe not too much. Obviously I'll do it. I understand, whenever you get any type of chance to kind of like be in publications or on the news, it's, I'm uncomfortable doing it, but again, I'll do it all day.
Yeah.
So
no, you don't seem uncomfortable. You're relaxing into it.
Yeah.
So how did you get into bees? Because from what I know from beekeepers that I know personally is that it is a slippery slope where it's not like you can do beekeeping half-heartedly.
Right. Yeah. So again, just as the company was evolving and, you know, I was going through some life changes, you know, leaving a job of 18 years, kind of, you know, obviously bees are the most important living being we have, you know?
Mhm.
So it was like, they'd always fascinated me and stuff. And, same thing, just kind of ran into a beekeeper one day. We got chatting and I was just like, kind of jumped into it, you know,
Yeah.
and, still learning a ton, you know, it's, I get so many questions all the time and I'm like, I'm going to have to Google that because I don't, you know,
Yeah.
So, but the beekeeping community is actually really cool too. You know,
Mm-hmm.
follow a page, Wisconsin Beekeepers on Facebook, and it's just really cool to see the community come together, you know. So somebody will put a post out of like, here's what's going on with my hives. Like, and it's really cool to see, you know, cause there's beekeepers that have been out there way longer than myself or some of the people posting. And it's just cool to see people not be dicks and just, hey, this is what we've done in the past, you know, and beekeeping, there's 100 ways to do things, you know?
Yeah.
And, so that's kind of where the beekeeping came in. And then, you know, obviously then came the cannabis side of it. And it was just like, honestly, as a brand, I'm going, in my opinion, two of the most important, you know, bees and cannabis.
Yeah.
Like cannabis to me, take the oils and the gummies that we're talking, you know, look at textiles and stuff like that. You know, that's where I think there could be a huge industry for that.
Oh,
you know?
yeah. Textiles and other like construction materials.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You know, hempcrete, I know down south, like Arizona and that has become very popular, you know, and
Yeah.
obviously it'd be cool to go down that route, but the amount of money,
Yeah.
the amount of money you're looking at to get going on that, you know, I think is somebody will get there with it.
Is the effort with, well, actually I wanted to ask about the honey. Are you the only CBD infused honey?
No, there's,
Oh, okay.
I know.
I know that everything is infused to CBD now, but
Yeah. I know there's Colorado Hemp Honey. That's out of Colorado. I think I would say probably like one of the bigger brands that
Okay.
I at least see out there, but I know there's a lot of local, beekeepers and, you know,
Okay.
people in the state that are doing some CBD infused honey as well.
Okay.
It's something I haven't really even pushed as hard as I should. Obviously, with the company being Honey Bee Cannabis, it's I've done, you know, 4 or 5 batches of it, and it sells out like crazy. So it's like, yeah, you know, that's where websites come involved.
Yeah.
You know, I think, I think that could be one of my better SKUs for sure. You know, it's like just that's the total brand though. Because I get a lot of questions. You know, hey, is there honey in the water? It's like, no, it's just the brand name. You know?
Yeah.
So.
How close are you to scaling up the business? Because it sounds like whenever you put out products, you're selling out of them. Are you close to making that next step?
Yes, I'm getting there. Obviously, you know, probably my top retailer would be Woodman's. Right now I'm just in the 3 Madison stores up in Green Bay, but have been given the okay to go statewide. So it's, yes, you know, I think again, just getting that brand out there more than just in the Madison area, getting it down in the Milwaukee area, stuff like that. So yes, I want to scale. I'm ready to scale. So, you know, I've been thinking about that a lot lately, you know, just employee wise right now, you know, I started this company with nothing. So it's, you know, like you said, a very slow go, and, you know, cash flow is big, you know, it's getting better and stuff, but you know, the hiring of an employee is scary too. Cause you know, now
you're responsible for their life.
Exactly. You know, and it's, for me, it's just, I got to get to a place I'm comfortable, because that's the last thing I'd want to do, you know, is hire somebody on and then, you know, not be able to
support them.
Yeah.
When you say you got the okay to go statewide, is there a limitation to the current license that you have?
No, just with Woodman's.
Oh, okay.
So like I said, you know, it was
like they had some sort of exclusivity.
They were just, it was kind of a trial thing.
Okay.
They, you know, they're carrying like 2 or 3 brands at the moment. So once we got them in the 3 stores here and then Green Bay, you know, sales have been there. So that's where they were like, hey, you know, you're good to go set up the rest of the stores here in the state, you know? So now it's just me getting out there and doing that, you know?
Now, talking about how backwards Wisconsin is when it comes to the THC side of cannabis legalization, is your business prepared for, like, if THC is legalized in Wisconsin, would you go into that side of the business, or do you see yourself staying on the CBD side?
I would definitely would like to dabble into it for sure.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing, like you said, we're so slow on all this. And I tell people, you know, I get a lot of people that are like, hey, I'm going to open up a CBD shop because when it's legal, I'm going to be a millionaire. And I'm like, we don't know how many
Yeah.
there might be 2 people that get licensed in the whole state or 10. Nobody really knows this, you know? So again, just, I'm trying to do things the right way, you know, to when that time, if it does come, I have an opportunity at a license, you know, and who knows, at that point it could be crazy money where I'm, you know, I think I could find people to invest at that point, you know, but, I think I'd like to go down that road. Actually working on a Delta 9 THC sparkling water here.
Okay.
Obviously hemp derived. That's kind of the route we got to stay with at the moment, but
You mean Delta 8?
nope, Delta 9.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So how, you know, I'm sure you're kind of familiar, but you know, the federal farm bill, how it reads is you just got to be below 0.3
Right.
by dry weight. So
Okay.
you can essentially do up to like a 5 milligram water.
Okay.
Keep it under that threshold, you know? So,
Yeah.
but definitely been a couple calls for it as the water's launched and got out into some stores. You know, there's been a couple brands out there right now, and you know, I mean, if that's what people are looking for, I'm willing to try it.
One thing I noticed is that you do a lot of collaborations, not just with local businesses, but also other manufacturers or food businesses, beer companies. How do you decide who to partner with, and why do you really go that route?
Well, for me, collaboration, especially as a small business owner, is huge, you know, because I'm not the biggest social media fan. I'm on it way more than I need to be with a business, but you know, each company or brand, you know, they have their own following. So it's like collaboration. One, it's good for all of us. You know, if we can all get some exposure, you know, Hop House for say, you know, they might have some fans that are cannabis, but just maybe haven't found me yet or whatnot. So it's like collabing with these companies and stuff. It's a good way to market the brand, I feel, you know, and knowing that I've been able to partner with a lot of these local companies and we're always giving back to the community makes it even that much better, you know? So, and for who I pick, I mean, honestly, I'm a cannabis company.
Yeah.
If you want to work with me, let's go, you know, because not everybody does, you know, and that's kind of why I went cannabis. I had a lot of people say, why are you doing that? We're not illegal. I said, because it needs to be destigmatized.
Yeah.
Cannabis.
Oh yeah.
You know, and that's the route I went. And so, yeah, you know, when you get people like Clean Lakes Alliance and the Zoo and Dane County Humane Society that are willing to, you know, just let me essentially give them money for partnering up with them and stuff like that. Again, makes me feel good. And just, I think it's a great way for small businesses to hopefully grow and some exposure that way.
Yeah. No, it's going to take, I thought it was going to be a much shorter road to get that stigma out of there, but there's just generations of people that, you know, as soon as they hear cannabis, they see the DARE logo and they see a drug sniffing dog, you know, like it's, I guess it was it held a lot more weight than I anticipated.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's not too many now these days. I feel it's getting better, but yeah, I'll always run into 1 or 2 people at, you know, a beer fest or something that are just, they want to tell me what I'm doing is wrong and, you know, this and that. And again, you know, it might not help you. It might not help myself. It's helping people.
Yeah.
I mean, so I struggle with people that are just kind of that close-minded that okay, you don't like it. That's cool.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's helping your brother with sleep or whatever like that.
Yeah.
So it should be, you know, nothing against alcohol. I still drink beer too, but
you
know, I kind of joke with, friends over at Carbon 4, you know, it's like, hey, I got one of the safer products in your brewery, you know, it's like, and yeah, so.
Does it help you with anything?
It does, definitely. I'm a cannabis user, THC side as well. And, you know, I struggle with some depression and mental health stuff, and I'm not on any meds anymore. So for me, that's great. You know, I had a father who worked in a pharmacy his whole life. So me and him had some good talks with the pharmaceutical companies. Not going to bash it all, but you know, they've definitely caused some problems throughout the United States, we'll say. So again, a natural plant, it's hard for me to see, you know, just see it demonized still to this day. Yeah.
No, that's how I combat everybody that comes at the angle with the religious side of things. I'm like, well, God put it here. Like what's wrong with that?
Exactly. You know? Yeah.
So with some of these collaborations, one of them that and it's, the podcast is, throughout the US and, we have global listeners. So some of this might be like really, small community stuff, but one of your collaborations is with the Dive Bar, which holds a special place in my heart because my wife and I, as we were courting each other, were at Dive Bar a lot in its previous iteration. And a couple of things with Wisconsin bars, and I don't know if it's exclusive to Wisconsin, but meat raffles and alcohol raffles are a big thing, especially when it comes to something to do on the weekends and other fundraisers, stuff like that. The Dive Bar was the first time I saw a cannabis raffle held on the weekends, and I noticed that it was your logo. How did you get involved with Dive Bar and what I believe to be the first cannabis raffle?
Again, relationships, man. It just I kind of met Josh and Ryan, the owners there. Met them through some beer type stuff. We actually met Ryan last year at Downjins Distilling in Cottage Grove. They do a big Bloody Mary fest, and me and him we're right next to each other, and we hit it off from day one. And they getting to know them, and they're cannabis friendly guys themselves. Madison has kind of laxed on some laws there with what they So I just kind of pitched it. I said, hey, what do you guys think about trying to sell some gummies out of the bar? And they were all for it. And then obviously they like you said, they do meat raffles every third Saturday. And I was just like, well, hey man, I'd like to sponsor on that. And they were all about that too. So yeah. And it's kind of fun. Ryan has called me a few times. He's like, hey man, State Line Distilling, people love their stuff, but your products are the ones people just go nuts over, So
That's
again,
great.
it's a small investment for me to get the brand out there and know that again, Ryan and Josh are always giving back to a different nonprofit, whether it be to help kids with low food security, stuff like that. So it's cool,
Yeah. It makes you feel good about where the money's going.
Exactly.
What is because we're cannabis equipment news, what is some of the equipment that you can't live without when it comes to manufacturing your products?
So one thing I really enjoy, it's been a while since I've used it, but for pre-rolls is, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Ultra Trimmer.
No.
So, a lot of trimmers are barrel trimmers. So they're spinning in circles, kind of really beating up the flower and stuff.
Yeah.
So essentially these Ultra Trimmers, it's a table and then it's, I don't know about that wide, it's smaller ones like that. And then it gets larger, but essentially it's two, cut pieces and it just moves back and forth like a pair of scissors.
Oh, okay.
So you just kind of like gently move it around and it gives you more of that hand cut trim with keeping some of that on. So the Ultra Trimmer's a pretty cool thing. I think it was 2020. I think High Times had it as like their product of the year or whatever that. So yeah, I would say that.
Okay. How much time do you dedicate to manufacturing and processing?
It changes a little bit, obviously, with how busy it is, but I'd say it's probably at least 50%, of the time, and then out selling and
just getting out there,
and getting the product on shelves and stuff like that is probably the other 50.
Another thing that is startling is the attention to the graphic design work. So do you do your own graphic design, or who is creating these cans?
So I do not, but my very talented friend, Joey Kinsler here on the east side of Madison. So again, we talk relationships, met him through a friend that owns Forward Coffee down on Atwood. Dan kind of introduced me to Joey, and same thing. Me and him kind of hit it off. We sat down one night and I just kind of gave him my thoughts on the can, and unbelievably just killed it on the first try, and I definitely got a lot of feedback on the packaging here, and I got to give that credit to him. It's definitely been eye catching, and again, I think we know that a lot of purchasing is with your eyes, and obviously feel really good about the actual product in the cans too. So I think when you can have that marketing image with the quality product, hoping to see some movement. We're about to do a second batch here, so first batch was about 500 cases. So we're almost through that already. So, I think with summer moving in, some festivals. So yeah, it's been fun.
do you pay? Is it more of an investment for like this foil effect that you get on the cans? Just because, I mean, sometimes you see a CBD can and it's just, it almost looks like a generic soda brand, and then you see CBD on the label, but this is,
So, I mean, it's a little bit more expensive than labels.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be surprised like how close it is though. And obviously that's why I went this route. Fairly new company out of Milwaukee, Craft Beverage Warehouse. They kind of started during the pandemic as a can supplier. There was the can shortage going on. And I think it was March or May of last year is when they started getting into the digital printing cans. And so, yeah, this can, I got to give credit to CBW and then Joey. It's like they, obviously brought something that, I feel really good about out on the shelves.
So a lot of the decisions that it seems you make, it seems like you always decide to spend or invest a little bit more to either do the right thing or do something that sets you apart. When I was at MJ BizCon, it seemed like a lot of companies were almost doing the opposite, where, a lot of it's all cost cutting right now. Is it because you're smaller, you're able to be more nimble, or, it takes a different mentality, I think, to make that decision at the end of the day where you're spending a little bit more. Kind of what do you tell yourself that makes you feel comfortable about it?
Well, again, I think for me, 18 years in that beer industry, I'm watching a lot of companies either launch brands, do things like that. I learned a lot, but I think branding is like one of the most important things, and then the next thing is having quality products inside what you're branding, So, for me, I think, and maybe it's not the right way of thinking, but I come from that beer industry of volume.
Yeah.
Volume, So for me, I do feel I have probably one of the sexier looking cans of CBD out on the market.
Damn right you do. My goodness.
And the nice thing is I'm priced below my competitors.
Yeah.
And some of them by quite a bit per case, So I think, again, it comes back to putting a quality product out that people can afford, I kind of watched the CBD beverage market for the last 2 years. And the constant thing I saw in the market was the pricing to consumer was just out of this world. It's like asking somebody to pay $4 or $4.50 for a 12-ounce can. I just didn't see it moving, So when these go into all the Woodmans here in the next 3-4 weeks, they're going to be 2 for $5 all day. So, it's there it is, it's a great product and it's hopefully more affordable to people.
Do you do the canning, at your shop?
Nope. So my co-packers are Carbon 4 Brewing.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So at the moment they're doing the co-packing for me and stuff like that. So,
and how is the CBD infused into the water? Is it an emulsion?
Yep.
Okay.
So we use Source Technology. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them, but, so this would be my only product that's not all Wisconsin.
Okay.
At the moment.
That's okay.
Yeah. At the moment, I don't know of any Wisconsin companies that are doing emulsification on a level that I'm comfortable with. Source works with some pretty big brands. Adam from Workaholics. So his brand is powered by Source as well. So yeah, it's an emulsified CBD, goes into it, and still blows my mind to this day how you can have a, tank of 15 barrels and you pour something in there and it just evenly just distributes itself. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
Is there any, fear of separation?
Nope. So one thing, it's called scalping. You can get a little bit of scalping to the can where it kind of adheres.
Okay.
One thing on my cans, just with it being natural organic juice, I kind of tell everybody to give it a little swirl, just as the organic lime or lemon juice can kind of settle.
Oh, okay.
But no, it's held up pretty good from the tests we've done, So.
What are your thoughts on how cannabis in general has been overly politicized in Wisconsin? And what do you think? Is it possible that given the current political landscape that we're able to overcome that, to have any form of legalization anytime soon?
That's a good question. I mean, to me, it's disheartening that, supposedly we're electing these elected officials to work for us. And Wisconsin for the last, 10 years has said, this is what we want.
Yeah.
The constituents want legalization. And the fact that it's just being ignored by our, political people is tough to see, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think about it a lot just cause it's nothing I can control.
Yeah.
It usually gets me a little worked up when I, you know, with my past, just having a father in the pharmacy and me in the alcohol business, it's just like, oh, this is really shitty to see because this is a plant and there's many other things that are doing much worse for people.
Yeah.
But yet there's certain people that got their foot in the ground and they're not moving it.
Yeah. We're one of the 13 states that have no form of legalization.
Yeah. I think something like that.
And what's crazy to me is that, so it's the approval rating is at like 80% now. And everyone I talk to has at least one personal connection that has benefited from using it.
Yes.
I'm like, I just don't even understand how there are this many people in Wisconsin that have seen the positive impacts of it. And yet still we just can't get any movement on it. I don't know. I agree with you. It's a point of frustration for me. And I can like feel the juices like building now where I'm just like, we're going to fix it right now. Wade.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And there's been a couple companies in Wisconsin that have, worked with Melissa Agard. So I've never met her, but I see what she's doing and it's great to see her out there and pushing for legalization and stuff like that. And, I'd love to be surprised someday and wake up and read something that we're close, but
right.
Unfortunately right now, I don't feel that way.
We need something where the political landscape is so bad statewide that both parties need a win. That's what it's just got to be really bad. Because kind of flipping that switch, I think there'd be a universal appeal, or not universal, but like, you know, majority appeal for both parties actually getting something done. Yeah,
I agree with you there. And, you know, it's like, I haven't looked at the numbers lately, but yeah, you know, when Illinois went legal and there was all those first month statistics and how much of this money is coming out of our state. And it's just, what are we doing?
That is one of the best things. And we're going to try to get Senator Agard on the podcast at some point. But when I've seen her speak, one of the best points that she always makes is she goes to the dispensaries right on the other side of the border in Illinois. Yep. She's like 9 out of the 10 cars are all Wisconsin plates.
Exactly.
It's and that's all just revenue that is leaving the state.
Exactly. Yeah. And not to mention, you know, now you have people from our state that might get picked up on their way home.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
They're getting tickets and it's just.
Yeah. Who knows what community they wind up coming across on with that overzealous sheriff sitting on the border.
Right. You know, and I do know there's been quite a few law enforcement agencies that have kind of semi-publicly came out saying, you know, hey, we're not really looking to, which is great. You know, I know Madison kind of decriminalized. I think Rock County Sheriff Department, they're the same way, you know, which is good because they have enough to deal with as well. Then
true. It is good, but there's a part of that where when you're comfortable being in Madison area where it's generally legalized, or at least you're not going to get any trouble. It's like $1 fine.
Yeah. Yep.
But you kind of let your guard down. And then when you know, a couple of the surrounding communities are real hard asses about it, and you could get in some real trouble. And so that's the only issue with that is that you kind of get lulled into this sense of safety and security and comfortability using cannabis in Madison. And then all of a sudden, you know, we'll be somewhere in northern Wisconsin. I'm just like, hey, this is not okay here.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I agree with that statement too, you know, where that could happen too, you know.
Yeah. I don't need my mugshot in the newspaper.
Right. Yeah. Small town, you never know, man.
Right.
So, yeah.
So one of the issues that we run into sometimes is that people think, given how the CBD side of the cannabis business is underregulated, as it could be. Do you think there's an issue when it comes to the quality of CBD coming onto the marketplace?
I definitely believe so. Again, I know a handful of really great companies in Wisconsin, but I also worked with some, you know, my 3 years, I've definitely worked with some farmers and just, you know, like you said, you know, the cost cutting, there's definitely companies out there that I wouldn't consider like great quality, but, and you're right, with no regulation, it's like, what do you do?
Yeah.
I mean, and that's where the bad players like that are really, really not helping the industry in our state because we're already struggling. And again, if you're buying terrible products, it's word of mouth and it tarnishes the whole industry. So, I would love to see some regulation on it, you know, because I think it would definitely weed out the people who probably shouldn't be here, you know?
Yeah.
So,
getting a little bit back to the lighter side, I want to go to some of your naming conventions. And I don't know if it was because it was a collaboration, but I want to know more about the Bees Nuts line. How did that happen?
Obviously, the Bee Better Have My Honey. I think you know what that one comes from as well. So like, yeah, I mean, again, like if we're going to launch brands, let's have fun with it. Obviously, Bees Nuts. I remember giving Clean Lakes a call and saying, "Hey guys, this is what we're thinking for the name." And they were a little like, and I said, obviously, going to keep it as professional as we can, but the people that know,
yeah.
And again, yeah, it's fun. It's stuff that I guess be corny, put some buzz out there, and in a brand and stuff. So yeah, that was obviously the first like fall release we did, which went over really well too. So, we'll most definitely probably bring that back, but the goal is to do 4 beers a year, one per quarter. So right now we're Earth Day and then half Earth Day, I guess you would say. So hopefully I'll be able to drum up some other good names for the other ones, when they come.
Have you ever had a product line that didn't sell out?
I would say like right now pre-rolls have definitely really slowed.
Yeah.
But
okay.
I would say kind of most of the stuff I've launched has done pretty well,
Yeah.
And I think that might be a little bit of my downfall is I'm an ideas guy and they just flow to me a lot at times. And
yeah,
maybe sometimes slowing down and focusing on one or two things than a bunch. But, right now I'm just kind of having fun doing what I'm doing and, yeah.
Is it, are you a little, we talked about the apprehension with bringing employees on board just because you're responsible for them, but is there some apprehension in going bigger just because it's small, you can kind of control it and you can kind of do whatever you want and still be successful?
I would say, yeah, a little bit,
Yeah.
Again, just, this is something I never thought I'd be in any type of position in my life is like owning a company. So
yeah,
it's all new to me. And, I think I'd be lying if I didn't say sometimes growth is a little scary,
Yeah.
It's like right now things are going pretty smooth and it's very manageable. And, obviously I would love to see the brand blow up, but again, I guess I'm okay with just kind of the slow roll, and if it's meant to happen, it'll happen, but I would just hate to overextend, like then all of a sudden I'm not taking care of my accounts that were my first supporters. And it's like, I think for me, that's really big. It's like,
is part of that because you launched right before COVID hit? The risk aversion?
It very well could be.
Yeah.
You're putting things in my mind now that, that I can think about. But yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I launched the company January 24th and then COVID hit.
Yeah.
So kind of what I did at that point too, from coming from that industry, I had a lot of friends that had bars and restaurants that were struggling to keep their employees employed. So what was I going to do? Sit on all this product, let it go bad? I was like, no, man, I just started giving friends like product that sell it here just as a sampling and give it all to your employees, which I think made me feel good that I was able to help some of my other fellow business owners like get through pandemic, but it definitely wasn't the opportune time to launch, with that happening. Cause as we know, everything kind of shut down. And when you don't have a website, you're not really doing anything.
Yeah.
So, that was, I think that kind of helped propel me coming out of COVID. Just
Okay.
some of that brand awareness, I think just through some of that stuff, given, helping out some friends. And we talk about social media, they were posting, thank you to Honeybee for helping us out here. So just kind of, hopefully that helped.
Yeah. Any challenges? Do your farmers run into any challenges or differences because they're growing specifically for CBD products? Are you involved with the farmers on that side of things, or do you kind of just, is it transactional?
I would say at this point it's more transactional.
Okay.
Like I said, during COVID, I kind of work with some farmers in that, and they take a big risk too, just with Wisconsin's climate being very unpredictable. So if their plants are going over the 0.3, it's like you're burning it.
Yeah.
So they're definitely, there's some, I guess, some risk there, at least when it comes monetarily. If you're investing a bunch of money to grow and then you know, I know 2 years ago there was some issues where the state didn't have enough people testing, you know, so it was, you would call and say, hey, I'm ready to have my plants tested, and they don't show up for 2 weeks. Well, that's when the plant's flowering. That's when the THC levels can spike a little bit.
Right.
So
Get hot.
Yeah. Get hot. So yeah. Otherwise, like the last year, you know, it's really dropped off too. I don't think my numbers are going to be probably real close, but I think the first year we were legal to grow, it was like 17 to 1900 growers licensed in the state. And I think last year when I saw it was down to 500.
Oh, wow.
So,
yeah.
You know, I think there was, when we first got into this, I think there was a lot of kind of promises from some people out of state, a lot of people from California, where that industry became much tougher. So it was like, hey, let's come to Wisconsin. It's a new industry, and kind of showed some of our farmers some hands of seeds, and it's like, hey, here's $1 million. And it was, you know, that's not how it worked.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think definitely know a few farmers that really took it in the shorts, you know, with investing. And I think that's probably why you're seeing the licensed growers coming down yearly as well. So
what can we expect next from Honeybee Cannabis Company?
I think honestly, the next couple of things down the pike would, you know, we're working on that, the THC infused sparkling water.
Yeah. What's the timeline on that one?
Hoping by mid-April.
Okay.
So we'll see how things go, you know.
Yeah. Come back again with that one.
Yeah. we can definitely do that. You know, obviously maybe working on a 4th flavor of the water. Again, you know, we've only been out in the market. It'll be 2 months tomorrow. So, this time of year it's cold, you know, we got some nice outdoor venues that are going to be bringing it on. So I think a 4th flavor would be nice, you know, and, yeah, a website.
Yeah, the website's coming.
Yeah.
You know, actually talking a little bit about testing, do you have to send your products in for testing before they go to market, or?
Yeah. So we definitely get testing before everything goes out. So COA is on all the products and stuff like that. Yeah, you know, and
what is COA?
Certificate of Authenticity.
Oh, okay.
So that's where the consumer can go on, and, you know, at least we can show them, like, hey, if, you know, if we're claiming this for CBD content and stuff like that, that there's third-party testing there to make them comfortable knowing that that's what's there.
Yeah.
So,
sorry, when you said it was powered by Source, I was thinking of just how the traditional spelling of Source. We've totally had these people on the podcast before.
Okay.
Check out episode 46. I don't know what number it is.
Yeah.
But they're doing incredible stuff when it comes to emotion.
Yeah, they're great, you know, from what I hear, you know, they're working with like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, you know.
Yeah.
So again, just obviously seeing the brands that we're working with them as well. And then, you know, again, it was a phone call to them one day, and just, you know, it's been a great relationship so far. I can't imagine it changing, you know.
So I feel like before we get out of here, we should try one of these, right?
Yeah.
So which between the ginger, the lime, and the lemon, which one should I try first?
So I'll be honest, I think the ginger. So
Yeah?
ginger has definitely been
Okay.
the seller.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird. I was never a ginger fan at all, and I would say that's probably my go-to.
I feel like guilty. It is just such a pretty can. You know, like,
Yeah. Well, you can always keep it. You
Yeah,
know, put it on the desktop.
let the kids play with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So how long was this product under development?
About 2 months, 2.5 months.
Okay. Oh, that is good and refreshing.
Yeah.
You're right. It was like, I want to like be sitting and relaxing in the, like sunlight.
Yeah.
Now I'll just, you know, I'll turn on my space heater by my desk. No, that's very good. And you're right. Like, I didn't catch on to the whole ginger beer phenomena, but I'm ginger everything else. So this is very good.
Well, if you're a ginger fan and you like it, then I like that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's been some bars too that, you know, I haven't really pushed like making mixed drinks with them, but once they buy them, but yeah, you know, Moscow Mule with those, seem to be pretty. Some of the bars are looking into doing that, and
that whole mocktail craze is a thing now, or the NA sort of beers.
This year,
cocktails.
Dry January just seemed much more publicized. I can't even say the
Publicized,
word.
yeah.
Publicized, which was great. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I was lucky enough. I got a friend that writes for the Journal, so she was able to feature him in a Dry January article about mid-January, which was great too. You know, it's just but yeah, I think the younger generation is, I think, very cannabis friendly, and
Yeah.
not everybody likes to go out and just get hammered, so at least it's another option
Yeah.
out there for people.
I mean, it's still fun, but no, but no, it's definitely relaxing and enjoying something like this. I understand the allure of now that I have to wake up with children every morning.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
You just, you can't be under your game with
Right.
2 kids under 5 in the house.
Yeah. Yeah, it's no fun. I've been there myself.
Yeah.
You
Yeah. Do you
know?
have kids?
I do. I have an 11-year-old daughter, so I should say she's my little CEO. I always
Okay.
tell her she's been great, and she comes along to a lot of events, and I always tell her, I have to come with me. She likes to, and she's a good little sales girl. So
So does she think you're more of a farmer or more of like a manufacturer?
I'd say she pretty much at this point more of a manufacturer.
Yeah.
She definitely helped out on the farm a couple years back when we did, working with some farmers.
Oh, that's right. You had said you and your daughter
Yeah.
went to your cousin. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So yeah.
Okay.
But
Well, that's awesome. Thank you again for joining us today. I really do appreciate the insight into your business.
Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah. Anything else, before we get out of here that you want to make sure the cannabis equipment audience knows about Honeybee?
No, I guess keep your eyes out for Be Better Have My Honey. That'll be dropping Earth Day this year. That's our beer collab with Hop House. And then, just keep your eyes open for the water. Picking up accounts weekly. And
Yeah. What is the URL going to be when it launches?
so it'll be honeybee-cannabis.com.
Okay.
So-
I can remember that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, Wade, thank you again for coming to the studio. I appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Appreciate it.
And the samples, my goodness. The man brought gifts. All right. Well, before we get out of here, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. You can also help us out a lot by leaving the podcast a positive review on whatever platform you use. If you want to email the podcast, you can reach me at David@Cannabis Equipment News with email the podcast in the subject line. Also, subscribe to our daily newsletter and make sure you get it delivered to your inbox first. For Wade Woods, founder, CEO, president, everything with Honeybee Cannabis Company, I'm David Manti. This is the Cannabis Equipment News Podcast, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Cannabis Equipment News Podcast.